Shalom, Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi. Double honors to the elders in Israel that rule well. So I was meditating on some things from history. I'm trying to put it into scope and understand today the persecution to come. Obviously everything that's licking this earth right now. But I thought this might be useful or edifying unto some of the people, brothers and sisters. So I just put this forth. So in the year 64, July 18th, Nero's Rome burns. It reads, "The great fire of Rome breaks out and destroys much of the city on this day in the year 64. Despite the well-known stories, there is no evidence that the Roman Emperor Nero either started the fire or played the fiddle while it burned. Still, he did use the disaster to further his political agenda." And like I say, we're just going to read this article straight through. I'm not trying to pull historical sources, make this a madly in-depth lesson, because it's not really what we need to focus on right now. But it's just to get the scope, get an understanding, political agendas, no new thing under the sun, so on and so forth. It says, the fire began in the slums of a district south of the legendary Palatine Hill. The Palatine, I believe that's Germany. The area's homes burned very quickly, and the fire spread north, fueled by high winds. During the chaos of the fire, there were reports of heavy looting. The fire ended up raging out of control for nearly 3 days. 3 of Rome's 14 districts were completely wiped out. Only 4 were untouched by the tremendous conflagration. Hundreds of people died in the fire, and many thousands were left homeless. Although popular legend holds that Emperor Nero fiddled while the city burned, this account is wrong on several accounts. First, the fiddle did not even exist at the time. Instead, Nero was well known for his talent on the lyre. He often composed his own music. More importantly, Nero was actually 35 miles away in Antium when the fire broke out. In fact, he let his palace be used as a shelter. Legend has long blamed Nero for a couple of reasons. Nero did not like the aesthetics of the city and used the devastation of the fire in order to change much of it and institute new building codes throughout the city. Nero also used the fire to clamp down on the growing influence of Christians in Rome. He arrested, tortured, and executed hundreds of Christians on the pretext that they had something to do with the fire. And the Christian is not talking about your everyday Christian today, who you would say, look man, they're talking about the true, we're dealing still in 1st century AD. To put this into scope, the Messiah is said to have been born in the secular year of around 4, or the year really is 0. That's where you get AD, Anno Domini, in Latin meaning the year of the Lord, where you get the word annual from anno, where you get the word dominion, domini, which is the Lord, the Lordship. It said he arrested, tortured, and executed hundreds of Christians on the pretext that they had something to do with the fire. So the spiritual demon Satan is always using people to persecute and try those. We know we've got a trial coming to try everyone on the earth, all that dwell upon the earth. And a pretext could be, "It's written that will be hated of all men for the name's sake of Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi." These are just things to think about, especially in a time when everyone's got their own theory about things that happen. And I think that's it. So I just wanted to go actually into the torture, and just a quick point on that we'll close out. So we're on historycollection.com, and if you just search up a segment of this, I'm sure you can find the website. So it says the Roman candle number 8, and the title of this article, I'd have to scroll all the way up to find it, but it's about the 20 worst torture techniques, something along those lines. 8. The Roman candle, from which the popular firework allegedly derives its name, was originally a torture mechanism whereby Christians were set ablaze for the amusement of Emperor Nero. It's written there's going to be a time of tribulation like never before. It's also written they'll be trying to spoil those that fear and stand stiffly for the name of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. It says, in the year 64 of the Common Era, the Great Fire of Rome devastated large parts of the imperial city, facing blame for both causing the blaze and providing inadequate response to the inferno, which caused widespread damage to 10 of Rome's 14 districts. Emperor Nero blamed the fiery outbreak on religious minorities, including early Christians, showing you again that these are Israelites who actually followed the Messiah, and not followed just from, like, they lived among people that lived among him. It says, among the alleged cruelties bestowed upon these religious minorities was the so-called Roman candle, using humans are the base. I think they mean as the base. Using humans as the base substance akin to the wax foundations of a candle. These victims were tied to stakes in the imperial garden for the amusement of the deranged emperor. Excuse this advert. There the prisoners suffered being coated in pitch, oil and other flammable substances before being set alight, though ultimately fatal fires were started from the feet in order to prolong the suffering for those so condemned. It has been suggested, without corroboration, that these candles were used as decorations during formal parties held by Nero. Nevertheless, the ancient Roman candles signify the first organized persecutions of Christians or Israelites that follow the Messiah under the Romans. Today, the term Roman candle refers to a type of Chinese firework that became popular in Western Europe during the Italian Renaissance. So Renaissance is, I believe that to be from the same root as natus, or nature, to be born. Obviously you have natal, postnatal, prenatal. So rebirth, the Italian rebirth. And again, there we are. We've closed off on that segment. So ultimately, that did come from the Lord. Let's get a few scriptures, of course. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. So as I was about to say, the Lord ultimately did that. But he put it on the spirit of people, men of the world, to carry out his plan, his agenda. So this is Psalm chapter 17, verse 13 through the end, which is verse 15. Arise, O Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O Yahawah, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. So we're coming up to a time where it is going to be a persecution. Some people have to get their heads chopped off. That's a quick and easy way. I'm not making light of it, but compared to a so-called Roman candle, that was just a pericope, a little excerpt of history to get us to visualize and just remind not to get too comfortable and be occupied in prophecy. Because even if you're looking in history, you have to make it relevant for today. You don't vain strivings, looking at vain things. Like, the Gentiles is important because it's a point of understanding the gospel. You don't want to preach a different gospel. That's a salvific point. But as I'm saying, don't get too caught up in debates and strive for no purpose. You have to make it immediately relevant, because there's a lot going on right now. There's a time and a place for all things, but it's looking like prophecy needs to be brought out on a wide scale. Alright, so double honors to the elders in Israel that rule well. All praises to Yahawah in Yahawashi name. Kal Thahalath li Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi. Shalom.